All right. Before I start, any notes on Chapter 5? Okay. So tomorrow is supposed to be your Chapter 4 test, right? Our trimester ends a week from tomorrow. And so that's, just like amazingly, ridiculously fast, right? And so we've got to fit all of Chapter 5 in before you take the test next Tuesday. Today, we're going to be doing 5.1, 5.2, 5.3. I don't want you guys to feel overwhelmed, especially because Schoology just flat out isn't working for a lot of people. And so if by the end of the hour, if there's somebody that can't get into Schoology, I can download the files and then just send them to you. So if you're a person who has not been able to get into Schoology today, why don't you guys send me an email, and then I can email you back the files for today's homework. But anyway, what I'm really talking about is tomorrow's test. So tomorrow's test, it has to be a little different, because attendance now, the way we take attendance is through signing into Google Meet, right? But I also know that Google Meet kind of can mess up your test. So I think what I'll have you guys do is I'll have you guys sign in tomorrow, just so for attendance purposes I can mark you down. And then once you're signed in, and then once I have you checked off, I'll let you know I have you checked off. Then you can get off of Google Meet and take your test. If you guys want, I've already opened up the test. So you guys are actually free to take the Chapter 4 test whenever you want. If you want to take it today, to be done with it, go for it. I don't know how much I'd recommend taking it right now because Schoology is acting so weird and the test is in Schoology. So I wouldn't recommend taking it like before supper. So maybe tonight, if you want to just take the test early, you can. But otherwise, tomorrow for class, the only actual meeting we have to do is for you guys to sign in to take attendance. And if you want to designate tomorrow's class time for taking the test, go for it. I just really want you to be done with 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, and the test by Wednesday. So the order you guys do those things doesn't really matter that much. I'm going to teach you 5.1, 5.2 today. Honestly, I don't think I'm going to have time to fit 5.3 in, but I do have a video that I created that I put in the 5.3 folder. So I'll teach what I can today, and I need you guys to realize you can't procrastinate this week. Our trimester is done on Tuesday, like a week from tomorrow. And it's super hard for anybody to make things up with this schedule. So don't procrastinate if possible. Just get things done. I'll help you with whatever you want help with. I don't know. Any kind of questions you guys have about the test or today or tomorrow or anything? I don't care about before I start teaching. Okay. If you haven't bookmarked my Google Meet link, do that. Because I would not be shocked that Schoology is going to go down a lot now that there's so many people doing distance learning at the same time. So Schoology's usage is ramped up a lot. Yeah, that's worst case scenario. I'll figure out how to get you guys work outside of Schoology. I mean, I'm not going to let Schoology impede us from learning here. So make sure you bookmark this link, and that's the main thing. Okay, let's go over notes here first. My goodness. All right, 5.1 is identifying linear functions. So this is example 1. I'm sorry, I forgot to write that. 5.1 example 1. I need to share the screen. That is a good call, Caleb. That would definitely help you guys. Luckily, I haven't really written anything yet. So 5.1 example 1. It's identifying linear functions. I'm going to try not pre-writing the notes, because I noticed when I pre-write notes, I tend to go a lot faster through them, which can be good, but you guys have a hard time taking notes. So I'm going to try to write them with you guys so that I don't go too fast. So identifying linear functions. All right, let's start off with a pop quiz here. Let's go with Ella. Ella, we'll start with you. Your question. What does linear mean? Are you Googling it quick? Perfect. Did you Google it? Oh, all right. If you did, I still would have been okay. That would have been a smart move. So if you ever see the word linear, it means it's a straight line. Functions are what we kind of just talked about, last week with, it's going to be on the Chapter 4 test tomorrow. So this is basically asking us to identify straight line functions, which is not bad. As long as you know linear means straight line. All right, let me make little graphs. And then I'm going to copy and paste that. Copy. Paste. Paste. So let me draw 3 things. All right. Here we go. Okay, that was a really bad looking U. Let's try to fix that. Sure, that's better. Okay, so we're going to try to identify if these are linear functions. Ella, who is going to help me start today? After you, I guess. So pick the next person. Yeah, that'd be great. Okay, Jack. Jack, she called on a professional here. Is this a linear function? This first one. Yes. Linear function. Jack, do you remember how to tell if a picture is a function? Because you need to know this for tomorrow. Okay, that's if it's linear. I mean, so what you answered was good. This is linear because it's a straight line. The vertical line test is what you use to determine if a picture is a function. So if you take your finger or pencil and move it left and right across a graph, if you only ever hit once at a time, it's a function. But if your finger or pencil touches twice or more, it's not a function. So first one is a linear function. That was good. Do you want to keep going, Jack, or do you want to call somebody else? Excellent. So call on somebody else. Okay, Garrett. Should I have just predicted that? I'm pretty sure you've called on Garrett every single time. Garrett, you probably knew this was coming as well. Is this one a linear function? No. Okay. Is it a function? You are definitely correct that it is not. Oh God, I gotta stop talking. It is not linear, but it is a function. So the word linear function is definitely like two separate things. Being linear and being a function don't have to go together. Okay, Garrett, do you want to keep going or just pick the next person? Austin. Okay, Austin. I think I heard you talk, but it barely came through. Why don't you type it in? So not only is Schoology down, but we also have garbagey Chromebooks that microphones go bad on constantly. Yeah, that's okay. So basically answer if it's linear and if it's a function. So it's kind of like two separate questions. Perfect. It is linear because it's a straight line. It is not a function because if you do your vertical line test, well, every single point hits at the same time. So this is linear, but not a function. So this is pretty much an example of all three. Okay, I'm going to put up 3 examples that I'd like you guys to just try to answer on your own really fast. I mean, like, there's not much to these. Why don't you guys try to answer that same info for these 3? Okay, if you were able to do them. Number 1, the fact that I had to pick the line tool should definitely tell you that whenever I use the line tool, it's linear because I'm making a straight line. And I can't draw a straight line to save my life, so I have to use the line tool. So these are both linear. This first one is a function because if I take a straight up and down line and move it left and right, it'll never touch more than once. The second one is also a function, even though it's flat, which is okay. It's just I'll never touch it twice by moving left or right. Third one is neither. Third one is not linear, and it is not a function. Okay, we probably did more of that than we needed to, but my reasoning is these are going to be by far the questions you guys love on the test because they're basically free points. So I wanted to make sure that you did not get confused on any of those. Okay. Example 2. So it's still the same topic, identifying linear functions. But the thing is, you're not always going to have a picture, Like, so the first one we looked at was from a picture. So sometimes you are going to get tables, basically just like numbers. Now, these are supposed to be tables, but, like, actually that was not a bad line, but my line is usually horrendous. If you guys ever want to really, like, present your inner geek, this is a thing on YouTube. So I sit there and complain about how I can't draw straight lines and stuff. On YouTube, if you look up Perfect Circle Contest, I don't know if they have had one for a little while. They used to have contests every year that they could see who could draw the most perfect circles. And it's actually super fun to watch because they have it set to music and everything. And it's actually people of all ages do it. Like, there's some younger kids, definitely some older people. But it's ridiculous how perfect a circle they can draw. So if you ever want to, flaunt your inner geek, look up Perfect Circle Contest. And it's actually super fun to watch. Okay, so I'm going to make a couple tables here. Okay. Here's how we're going to identify if something is linear. So if I look at the changes between the numbers, so like from -2 to -1 has a change of 1. I go up 1 number. From -1 to 0 goes up 1 number. 0 to 1, up 1 number. 1 to 2, up 1. These are all the same. Check. Then I'm going to check to see if these numbers are all the same apart. 7 to 4, down 3. 4 to 1, down 3. 1 to -2, -2 to -5. These are all the same. Check. This one is a linear function. Because the changes on both sides are the same. If you have one change that is not, automatically it is not a linear function. It won't make a straight line if all of the information isn't constant. So like example number 2 is not a linear function. Plus. So on the left-hand side, it goes up by 1 each time, which we saw. Okay? But on the right-hand side, it does not. Go down 3, down 1, up 3. Not the same. Not a linear function. So it's fairly straightforward. Okay, time to throw us for a little bit of a loop. Decia, can you be my helper? Perfect, thank you. So these numbers aren't written in a table. How would I write these numbers into a table? Absolutely perfect. Nice job. It sounds like you have a couple Snapchats or messages to reply back to. Yes, good job, though. Good job. So that's not always easy to do. First numbers are X's. Second numbers are Y's. So write them into a table format to make it easier to figure out. So plus 3, plus 3, plus 3, down 1, down 1, down 1. Both sides are the same. And you definitely do not need to write this. This is just how I'm showing work for notes. Okay. Nice job, Deisha. Thank you. Who's going to be the next person to go? Sorry, I was trying to get you before you shut off the mic. Okay, AJ. I realize this is calling on you early. I haven't even put up numbers yet. This is what I would like everybody to try to do this question. And then AJ, I was hoping you could help me out with it to determine if it's a linear function or not. Okay, so why don't you guys try to write these numbers into a table and then figure out if it's a function. Excuse me, a linear function. Okay, you think it is not. Oh, this is a twist. I should ask, is this how you put the numbers down? Okay. So, down 5, down 5. No, my gosh. Let's pretend your teacher can add and subtract. Up 5. Up 5, up 5. This is down 6, down 2, and honestly, as soon as I got there, I could even stop. I could stop because these were not the same, because they're different. So, not linear function. Okay, nice job. Does anybody have a question on any problem we've done so far? Want me to explain something, maybe? Okay. I will move on to the third part. 5.1, example 3. Okay, we're going to try to identify if something is a linear function. If it is, we're going to graph it. Okay, so what I just wrote off on the side, I didn't want to screw it up by talking at the same time, because that's pretty much what I'm famous for, is writing wrong words and numbers while I'm talking. if our goal is to try to identify a linear function, first thing is every linear function has to be able to be written as y equals mx plus b. So that's called slope-intercept form, and you might have heard that before. Now, it doesn't have to look like that. Like, it doesn't exactly have to be that form. It just has to be able to be changed into that form. Okay? And if you guys recognize the formula, the big idea is that m and b are regular numbers. So if your equation can be written as y equals some number x plus some number, and either one of these numbers could be 0, then it automatically is a linear function. So saying that ahead of time, so I've got some examples. And we want to know if they are linear functions. I'm only going to graph one of these. I don't think we need to graph a bunch. Oh, AJ, did you pick somebody? Or do you want me to just pick some? Okay. Let's go to the bottom. Let's go to the bottom. They never get called on. Sophia, you're at the bottom. Okay, so Sophie, could you help me figure out if A, B, C, and D are linear functions or not? And otherwise I can kind of help you and guide you along the way too. Sure. So as I'm looking at this first one, what I wrote on the side in yellow is that every straight line can be written in this yellow form. And so this green one is the exact same form where m is a 1 and b is a 3. So because this matches up with that yellow one, that would make this a linear function. So basically, if you can change your equation around to look like that yellow one, then it is a linear function. So let's look at the second one, I guess. Could I change this second one around to look like the yellow one? Okay, so basically we would try to solve for y. So could I make this equation say y equals? Yeah, no, you're right. We could subtract 2x. And then this would say 3y equals 8 minus 2x. And then I could divide everything by 3. And the numbers would be terrible. They'd be fractions. But it would still match up with this form. So all we're really looking to do is we're just kind of checking if the information that's there is linear. It's probably easier for you to answer when it is not. Like C. How come? Did you figure out C was not a linear function? Or, I'm just telling you right now it's not. Do you think you could tell me why C is not a linear function? What part of that equation tells me it's not? Correct, what I circled. So because there's a squared on the x, like this yellow equation does not have a power. So that squared immediately told me it's not a linear function. And then how about D? Correct. Correct. These are easy questions, but there's not a great way for me to explain for you what to look for. So they can definitely be tough if you're not sure what to look for. And I have a feeling as we go on, you guys will get better at it. Does anybody need me to show you how to graph a straight line? I mean, we've kind of already done it in the last chapters. Okay. You basically make a little table with 2 points, and then that's your straight line. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, but that's my job. I can help you if you do. Okay, so that was 5-1. Let's move to 5-2. Perfect, Caleb. I have a feeling everybody's Schoology will slowly start working. Oh, well, that's a terrible P. Was yours not working before either, Austin? Maybe we got lucky and they fixed it for everybody. Ah, excellent. Okay. Oh, I forgot to draw a... Actually, that'll work. So we're going to be finding intercepts. The intercept is where two things intersect on the axes. You guys are probably somewhat familiar with the y-intercept. It's where your line crosses the y-axis. The x-intercept is where your line crosses the x-axis. So those are called intercepts. For problem A, the x-intercept can be written 2 ways. X equals 2, or you can write it as a point, 2, 0. So I've seen it written both ways. I'm okay with either one. The y-intercept crosses, it looks like, at -1. So I would say y equals -1, or the point 0, -1. So if you have a picture, you basically just look at where it crosses, and it's not bad. But if you're looking at B, if you have only an equation, there is a trick. It's actually super simple, and it's awesome. So if your equation is written in what's called standard form, it is ridiculously easy to find the intercepts. Now, this works so much easier if we're actually physically present, because if I go to touch my screen, you can't see it at all. So the finger method is you're going to take your finger or pencil and cover up the term that won't give you your answer. So if I am trying to find the x-intercept, I'm going to cover up the y term. So what I would do is I would take my finger and cover up the y term. And the x-intercept, the information that's left, says 3x equals 12. I divide by 3. My x-intercept is 4. And that would find the x-intercept. For the y-intercept, I do the exact opposite. You know what? I want to do this with colors so that it would be easier to spot. Okay, so the y-intercept, I would cover up the x term. And then the only thing that would be left would be negative 2y equals 12. So I take my finger and I physically cover up the other term. I divide by negative 2, and this would say negative 6. And that's how you can find intercepts from an equation. This all relies upon having standard form, but it's basically going to be given to you like that. Now, before I give you guys one to try, does somebody have a question on what I just did? Like, did I go through that too fast, or did you miss part of that? Anything? Okay, then why don't I put up a couple of problems for you to try? Just find the intercepts. I mean, that's basically the... You're going to have to pretend that these are straight lines, because I'm no good at that. That's better than I thought it was going to come out. I'll give you 2 of regular equations to try because I want to make sure you're good at them. The pictures, I think you're probably pretty good at. So take a minute, try to find these answers, and then we will talk about them. Let's see, we have till 12:30, I think. Yes, 12:30. I will try not to go directly until 12:30 because I want you to have some time to work. But that's also why I said I knew I wouldn't be able to get 5-3 done today. Let's see, Gracie, whenever you get done with the picture, I can write down those answers from you. Olivia, whenever you get done with the answers for the middle problem, why don't you kind of give me that info? And then Rocio, how about the one on the right? You have yours already, Gracie? Or you? Oh, okay. Otherwise, if you had a question, that's fine too. Backwards. So that's the x-axis. This is the y-axis. Ah, shoot. So the x-intercept is x equals -1. Y-intercept is y equals 4. But good. Yeah, you identified the spots correctly. Olivia, how are you doing? Or did you need some help? Or Nice. Good. Oh, perfect. Perfect. Now, if anybody wants me to show the work for that, I can. Does anybody want me to show the work for these? I don't know if you all got that. Or... All right. Rocio, did you get the third one? Nice. Good. Very good. Yeah, I don't know. There's not much more to it than that. I gave you kind of difficult ones. I mean, what's usually considered difficult? So that's pretty good. Hey, we're just about done. I skipped example 2 because that was just a word problem, and I didn't really want to fit that in. So, if you have an equation that is written in standard form, you can use the intercepts to graph it very easily. So we're going to go over how to do that. And honestly, the worst part is the fact that it has to be in standard form to do that method. And then, so the second one I'm writing is clearly the one that's meant, excuse me, where did I hit? Is the one that's meant to have work. Okay, so first one. First one, when I'm looking at it, I can figure out the x-intercept and the y-intercept pretty quickly, because it's already set up. So x-intercept would be 4. Y-intercept would be -2. Okay. Now, if I want to graph that, well, it's not bad. Ooh, that was. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I basically just put the intercepts on here. So the x-intercept at +4 on the x-axis. I forgot to write x and y on there again. And at -2 on the y-axis. Oh my gosh, that is by far the most perfect line I've ever drawn for you guys. I'm glad I'm recording this. I have proof. Okay, well, the second one is the one I wanted to get to because it obviously has all the work. So, standard form means the letters are both on the left and the numbers on the right. So the first thing I want to do is I want to add 1/2 x to both sides so that the letters are all on the left. And then I'm going to write the x first, although it really doesn't matter. So positive 1/2 x, positive 2/3 y equals 4. Now the fractions can be stupid. I mean, like, it can make the problem harder. Don't forget, you guys do have calculators that can divide by fractions. So you could just leave it this way. There is a method for getting rid of fractions. And what you technically do is you multiply everything by the common denominator. So halves and thirds, the common denominator would be 6. And if I multiply everything by 6, it cancels out all of the fractions. 6 divided by 3 would be 2. 6 divided by 1 is 6. So 3 times 1x would be 3x. 2 times 2y would be 4y. 6 times 4 would be 24. So that's how we can kind of change it around to make nice numbers. And so if you ever get a problem like that, you kind of do the same method. Put the letters together and multiply by a common denominator. And then the x-intercept, well, I would cross off the y. X-intercept is 8. So, uh-oh. And y-intercept, cross off the x, and I would have 6. And then I kind of ran out of room. Definitely ran out of room. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 6, 7, 8. 6. So I sort of cheated because I knew where I had to go. I knew that I needed to go up 6, so I only made 6 lines. And I knew I needed to go to the right 8, so I only made 8 lines. And so, boy. So I kind of just made my graph to fit that. Okay. It's already 12:20, so I apologize because I know notes can take a while trying to fit in how much work we have. So we only have 10 minutes left of the hour. What I'll do now is I'll stay on if somebody wants to talk to me about some of these questions or needs some help or guidance, whatever. Otherwise, I'll be done with the notes for today. And don't forget, I already opened up the test, so you guys are welcome to take the test whenever you want. Tomorrow, you just need to make sure to log on so I can take attendance. By Wednesday, make sure you finish 5.1, 5.2, 5.3 by Wednesday. So kind of pick whatever order works best for you, but those are the things that need to be done by Wednesday. Tomorrow, you just need to log on for attendance. So otherwise, I am done for today. Thank you guys for showing up. Nice, Caleb. Yeah, obviously it'll start working again. All else fails, I can just kind of cut out some of the work because I don't want you guys to get overloaded. So if Schoology is still working iffy by Wednesday or by tomorrow, then I'll adjust the homework to go with it. Oh, you're welcome, Dishu.